This country isn't divided by politics. It's divided by people who get it and people who still think weakness is a strategy. Watch Jessica Tarlov and Jesse Waters go at it. You guys gotta check this one out.
In so many ways, I feel like this is back to the pandemic in that we had to go study China. They started this pandemic. What's going on here?
Oh,
And then we're trying to look at their economy. And so much of this is a house of cards. Though young people are not working over there, they got huge problems with housing. They got empty cities. Nobody has any opportunity. They live to export. If they can't export, they can act as tough as they want. They'll begin to collapse. This guy's going to feel the pressure quickly, and Trump knows it.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Everybody wants to make this a political thing, a left versus right, a Democrat or Republican type of thing. This is just Trump showing who's alpha. He's showing the people who's boss. He just slapped these tariffs on them like he's collecting rent. He's inserting dominance. And if you agree, guys, please let me know. Let's continue this video. But to me, I think that's a little bit more of leadership. All these other politicians are sitting there playing checkers, and Trump just comes up, he plays chess. That- That's what I'm getting from it. Let's keep going.
Joe Biden probably could have done this when he was president. You had the whole world against China after they unleashed this virus.
Yeah.
And he just sat on his hands, Katie.
Well, I think he did more than that, or less than that, you could say. Yeah, China has never been held responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic, killing millions of people all around the world, sending false and fake PPE all over the world, fake testing kits when
Yep.
they claimed that they were
I'm sorry.
delivering humanitarian aid to countries in Europe. But this current trade war, the president has leverage here because he has isolated China. Now the world has a choice. We can either go with cheap Chinese goods, which we know are broken and fake and that do not have longevity. And that includes things.
Say what you want about Trump. Please say what you want, but you can never say he made the wrong move here because China is literally flooding us with garbage, stuff with no longevity, like she just said, and they're making their country boom off of eating off of us. Trump stepped up.
Sold at Walmart, but also things built in countries like Africa, where China has gone through and promised, we'll build you a bridge, we'll build you infrastructure. It all starts crumbling down after they imported Chinese workers to do those jobs. And then they walk away and say, we don't care if your bridge collapsed. We don't care if these things aren't working for you. You still owe us money and you're stuck in this debt trap. The president understands that legacies are not built on snapshot polling. Yes, this tariff situation is new. People are not comfortable with it. It's different. It is going to potentially cause some short-term pain, but it's part of a broader economic plan that the president has with tax cuts, deregulation, spending cuts. And so they're in this for the long haul, and so is China. They have a 100-year plan. And if China wants to go with looking at the rest of the world and saying, take our exports versus the United States, I think the world is going to say your credibility in terms of the goods that you provide after stealing intellectual property, which is to the tune of $600 billion from American corporations, I think most of the world is going to choose the better, more credible country, which is the United States.
And Trump is literally treating this like it's a business deal. That's the thing that's been so wrong with all these other presidents. They're thinking it's high school. They're trying to be the most liked nation. They're worrying about everything else that doesn't matter. And Trump is sitting there focusing on the nation's future. How can you hate a guy like this?
Jessica, China going after Hollywood. Do you think that that was the smartest point of leverage to take on Donald Trump?
Isn't the art of the deal that's just an opening gambit, right?
Okay.
We'll ease our way into that.
Yeah.
I think that China knows that there are tens of millions of Americans that own small businesses that rely on goods from China that are going to be completely bankrupted by these tariffs. And that's really what this is about. They can say what they want about Hollywood, but that's what it's going to come down to, that people need to be able to go, excuse me, to Walmart and get the things that they want. And that's what the CEO of Walmart is saying. That's what people like Ken Langone is saying, calling what Trump's doing BS. This is someone who's a strong supporter of his. Ken Griffin as well. I was struck by what Larry Fink said this morning on CNBC. This is the head of BlackRock. The U.S. post-World War II was a global stabilizer. We are now a global destabilizer. Yes, I do believe we're probably starting, if not already in a recession. This is not a pandemic. This is not a financial crisis. This is something we've created. And that's the trend line here, that smart people who create jobs, who are really rich, who have done well, who Donald Trump respects, know that what he's doing is about his own fantasies and not about the realities of the economics here. The dollar is weakening. People are dumping U.S. assets. They don't think that we're a good bet. And the American public, the lower classes that Scott Bessent is so concerned with, are losing their minds. Consumer sentiment dropped to its second lowest level since 1952 when they started recording this. Do you think that's a good thing that the American public, who need to be able to get up and go to the grocery store and get that flat screen TV,
Right,
if that's what they want?
do you think the last 40 years of trade have been good
Yeah, they have been good.
for the middle class? Have
Wait,
it been good for the middle class, Jessica?
if you're talking specifically about protectionists,
I'm
policies
talking about jobs
auto
and factories
manufacturers,
and honor
yeah.
in the Rust Belt and across the country.
What's more
where people got
important
hammered by
then,
cheap
Jesse,
Chinese
why
goods
are there
and taken
tens of
advantage
thousands of manufacturing jobs available? Because people don't want them. That's what folks who are smart about this are saying. We can't have a manufacturing economy. We don't have the workers for it. We don't have the interest in it.
She's talking about a different type of manufacturing. We're not talking about T-shirts. We're
I'm
talking
not.
about aerospace. We're talking about steel. We're talking about automobiles. We're talking about robotics and AI. Those are the types of high-tech jobs the president's looking to return.
But I also think that the arguments over volatility or the arguments over the small business reliance on certain things, it's very short term. It's very myopic. It reminds me of sort of if someone's breaking up with a violent, controlling partner. And it's like, well, but all your friends are through me. Like, it's sort of a dependence that's based on a total fallacy of trust. And the reality is that in the last 40 years, our deficit to China is not only at times in the trillions, but up to the billions in terms of the trade goods deficit. But we also, when we had to bail out American workers, for example, to the tune of 27 billion, 26 billion of that was tethered even to China. Us bailing out our farmers because of our dependence on China still required a dependence on China. Everything that we do has been absolutely tethered to this country that has such a lopsided power differential. And finally, we are reclaiming. And the extrication of a system that has had us under its heel for the last 40 years, as we have created a system where we rely on cheap, faulty goods that are destroyed, that we've sort of fed into this consumerism, fast casual lifestyle. It's okay to put that on pause while the extrication has a bit of growing pains for the long-term self-independence so that we don't have to have such a lopsided existence. I don't buy that the status quo, because it is somehow the reason why it should remain. And I note, too, that despite the confidence in the stock market at this moment, I think there's a greater appreciation for the short-term value of it, because the #1 cabinet member currently of the Trump administration that has consumer confidence, that has voters' confidence, is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And so I think to that point, people know that they're making a good decision that might hurt for a short amount of time, but in the long run, it will be so much more valuable to be untethered from China.
And to see these deals.
I'll tell you guys right now, you can't argue with some people because some people just don't understand it. They think weakness is a strategy, and Trump understands that if you sit there keep thinking this is kindergarten, China's just going to hand over better deals, you're going to catch a nuke thinking like that. You got to stop being a soft person at some point, and Trump is showing you he's a politician with a backbone. Let me know what you guys think about this quick video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and as always, let me know what the act 2. We're out.